live. Ah. I am live. I am live. Okay. We are live. Let's get the thing back up. While we're waiting, pop on over to Twitter. What happened to Twitter? Live 5 minutes early. All right. We are live. Do. Okay. So, while we're waiting for people to get here, Joan, we'll go over what happened during the week. Yum. What did happen this week? Not, well, a few things happened. So first, I did a thing at Senior Center. I think that was the Manchester one. Yeah. And then Joan got her shots on Tuesday. I got a haircut on Thursday. And then Friday was Valenzano Winery, which went pretty good. It got postponed because of the snow, which I think kind of hurt because like people scheduled it and then we had to push it back a week, and then people were like, oh, I can't come. But the room was mostly full, and we're going to do it again. So that's good. Had nothing going on this weekend. Oh, man, I tried like hell. And then I've got next weekend open too, which sucks. But I have a shot at getting something. Something might happen. So February's not totally dead, but it's a little empty. So I got my work cut out for me this week. Gotta get some more signings. But anyhow, I got new books, which I wanted to get before Valenzano. I think it cost me a couple of sales, but I did get some sales online, so that was nice. The Pineys, of course, being right here. Oh, here we go. First person is in, James. Hello, James. James. I can't pronounce that second part, but I'll just call you James. Calling it now, though. Calling what now? You're leaving already? We just started, James. I haven't even talked about the box office. Welcome, though. Now's a good time to ask me a lot of questions because it's just you in the chat. So if you have any questions. I don't think we're going to be talking too much about comics this week unless people bring it up. There wasn't a lot going on. I mean, just the usual drama. Oh, he redacted his question. Do I? You should be okay to ask me things, unless it's too spicy. But yeah, I kind of backed out of the drama on indie comics. It's just, to me, it's just so not constructive. So and this isn't a slam, but I had to unfollow Ethan Van Sciver. I had to, because every video was trash cast stuff, and honestly, I'm just kind of sick of it. I think he's going down a dark path. I get it. He's mad at Eric. Everybody's kind of mad at Eric, but I think, just ignore him. Either he gets better or he doesn't. Amoral fat 40 ounce has sent me a bunch of chicken emojis. I don't quite get that. Why? Because I unfollowed Ethan. I just don't want to hear his stuff on Eric. It's just tiresome. 3-hour podcast trash cast. It's just, I mean, I've gone 3 hours a few times, but I can't listen. I wouldn't put out a podcast I couldn't listen to myself, And if I can't listen to it, I find it weird that anybody would want to listen to me more than 2 or 3 hours, It's got to be entertaining, And after a while, you start to wind down. Unless you're doing some kind of marathon thing. There are exceptions, but, sometimes I'll listen to Styx when he's doing election coverage, and that's fun. And I've done it a couple of times, and it's kind of fun because you're just riffing off of politicians and their deal. But I feel like Eric July, he's sort of the maker of his own misery, and you should just leave him to it. He's not hurting anybody. He's not Marvel or DC. I think we got bigger fish to fry in the world of comics, namely Marvel and DC. I'm fine with Eric producing comics, even though I don't particularly like them. If other people like them, that's fine. Look, I do stuff on movies all the time, and people blast me. Oh my God, how could you say that about a movie? And I just go, you can like the movie if you want. You can like Barbie. I mean, Ethan went to go see Barbie. I didn't want to go see it. He defended it. I guess he liked it, or he's just trying to get clicks. I don't know. But I don't want to see it. I mean, why would I want to go see it? I mean, I guess for Margot Robbie and cute outfits, that I would like to see, but I can kind of see that on the internet. You know? I don't need to hear a big lecture about feminism or whatever the hell it was. I'm really not interested in hearing the song. But again, that's all on the internet. So all the best parts of the movie are on the internet. I don't want to see the movie as a piece, so why would I pay all that money to go see it? Plus, it's already on Max. I could see it for nothing. I still haven't watched it. I did watch Has Been Hotel this week, and that was pretty good. You know, I mean, people are right. It is pretty degenerate, but I mean, if you've seen Hell of a Boss, you kind of were expecting that. It's not bad, though. It's just, you know, it's pretty much more the same. I can understand why people who are religious would be offended by it. It's sort of made to be offensive in that corner of the world. You know, there's this whole riff of people just offending Christians over and over again. It's gotten really old. I mean, like, back in the 70s and 80s, oh, that was edgy. If you came out with something that specifically offended the Catholic Church, oh, people would be up in arms. These days, it's like, ho-hum. James, Furiosa, gonna bomb, calling it now. I can feel it. Could be PG-13. There's no rating yet. It's rated R. It could be decent, maybe. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be decent. I mean, I meant Furiosa once. That's okay. Yeah, I Furiosa is... It's Mad Max without Mad Max. They're trying to feminize Mad Max. I mean, that's what it seems to be. Oh, don't watch Mad Max, the cool character. Oh, this is a different character. Why? Why did we need a different character? Were all the stories from Mad Max done? I don't think so. The possibilities were endless with Mad Max, and what does Furiosa bring to the table that Mad Max didn't? Oh, she's got one arm and kind of a prosthetic, cybernetic thing. So what? Mad Max was cool. Mad Max had a dog. Remember when he had a dog? That was cool. They killed his dog. Man, I was pissed off when I saw that. Oh, they killed his dog. Kill them all, Max. Kill them all. That's Mad Max, man. Give me Mad Max. Tom Hardy as Mad Max would be fine. If he starts killing people left and right. What they needed for Mad Max, for the next movie, if you were going to do like a fourth movie, you needed a bigger city than Bartertown. You needed like a city that was like pretty built up, like the ruins of some major city, and it would have to be Australia, that isn't quite functioning. Like the buildings are still there, but there's tons of people, and Max has to like fight his way through like a million dudes. And there's some totalitarian state in charge, and he's got to save some kids or save the people. And you know, I mean, one of the great deals in Mad Max was, oh, he's got the last V8, last of the V8s. Do you remember that? That was awesome. Arden is here. Hey, stranger. Hey. James, I totally agree with your take on the trailer. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not watching it. I have no interest in Furiosa. Who is that? Oh, is the character played like Charlize Theron, and these are the unanswered questions from the prequel. Who cares? These people take any random character in a movie and say, "Oh, let's do the early days." I mean, the most crazy example is Pet Cemetery. Oh, hold on, I got to catch up to the comments. Ardent, is it just me or are you really quiet tonight? Oh, maybe that's a microphone again. Hold on, I've had some issues. There we go. How about that? I moved it closer. JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Ardent, what do you think of the new Roadhouse trailer? Expectations, hope for the film. I'm looking forward to it. And JEC, I'm getting Sin City 2 from Furista. What is Furista? Or you mean Furiosa? All right. So first, Furiosa. Let me finish that. It's just a non-entity, right? You're taking a random character from Mad Max and just doing so they did this in Pet Cemetery. They have a new Pet Cemetery show. It's called Bloodlines. And if you remember I remember the 80s Pet Cemetery where Herman Munster was in it. Herman Munster played Jed Clampett. I think that's his name. No, not Jed Clampett. Jed Campbell. I don't know. Jed something. Anyhow, they decided it would be a good idea to go back to the 80s when Jed was a young man and focus the show on the Pet Cemetery. I don't even think it was the 80s. I think it's the 60s. Like, who cares? Who cares? So many unanswered questions. No, there isn't. There absolutely wasn't a single unanswered question in Pet Cemetery. I got the concept. You bury people in the Pet Cemetery to come back to life, but they're possessed by demons or whatever. Yeah. I mean, if you went back further, maybe. Like, if you went back to colonial times, that could be kind of cool. The ancestors of Jed. But you go back one generation for a character that people barely remember? What? You spin off a movie to Furiosa, you don't even put... I mean, at least if you had put Charlize Theron in it, people would be like, well, Charlize Theron, maybe you could sell that. Oh, no, we're getting some younger chick. And then, I mean, it's just... This is like the old joke Jerry Seinfeld said about football teams. You're just rooting for the uniforms. In this case, you're just rooting for the IP. That's all it is. The IPs have become a skin suit. And it was one thing to do it with James Bond. That was the first really IP that they did it. They started swapping out James Bonds left and right. It was a good franchise. They wanted to keep it going. But there was a high bar initially for James Bond when they swapped him out the first time. High bar. They probably shouldn't have swapped him because Sean Connery came back and did it again in the 80s. It seems like they could have kept him around, just paid him more money, you cheap SOBs. But they didn't, so whatever. And they just... Now it's like the bar is so low. Oh, let's do a spin. And they don't even pick the good characters. Like a lot of people, and I hate new Star Wars, but a lot of people like John Boyega as Finn, right? If you were going to do a spin-off on Star Wars, a TV show, I would think you would go, hey, yeah, let's give Boyega a series because he's really popular with the fans. People like him. I mean, it could fill your woke quotas, I'm sure. Nope, they can't think of that. Still not good enough. Ardent, buffering hard. I'll fall behind and lurk. Uh-oh. Am I that far behind? What is going on? Oh, it looks like I am buffering a little bit. Hopefully it will figure itself out. Sorry about that. I have little control over that. I don't know why that's happening. JEC, looks like it's all shot on green screen. Fury Road, they were out in the real desert sweating and you could feel it. Yeah, and Fury Road was okay. I mean, it was fine. It was fine for a reboot. a good jumping off point if they bothered to continue with it. No, we're gonna sidestep Mad Max and go to Furiosa. We're hoping you'll like her better, so we could just focus on women because women. That's Hollywood now. Women. Holly's here. Hello. Hope you didn't jump in when I was saying women over again. I had a point. Arden says hello. JC, Fury Road was great in the theater. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. To me, Mad Max was cooler only because like it was newer. Like the first movie is completely different from the second movie, I think. Because the first movie has some of civilization still in it. He's still a cop. He doesn't really get into the dystopian stuff until the second movie, really. Zebek's Demise. Hello. Records broken. What record did I break? The number of people in here? How many people are in here? That would be nice. Oh, got 7. 7 concurrent viewers, 4 likes. No wonder I'm buffering. So many people are in here. We're crashing YouTube, everyone. JC, Road Warrior is the best of the series for sure. Yeah, that's my favorite too. I would rate them. It's kind of hard to compare the first movie to the rest of it. James is laughing. Zevix, women. You know, if you want to do a women's movie and Mad Max, how about Mad Max and the Bikini Island Girls or something like that? That would be a fun movie. Max goes to an island full of bikini girls, and at first it's awesome, but then there's a dark secret, and Max has to save the bikini girls. Because, I don't know, who cares? There'll be bikini girls everywhere. Someone did a great AI picture, I probably can't find it, of Wanda from WandaVision, but it was Elizabeth Olsen in a bikini, but like with the Wanda headdress and a cape. And I was just like, yeah, then I would have seen that show. Imagine if Wanda had been in a bikini just all the time. If they had done even just like a couple of episodes of like 70s Wanda because she was trapped in TV or whatever. Yeah, real original concept. For people who don't watch TV anymore, hey, here's a bunch of stuff about old TV. But that's the way it was in Charlie's Angels. That would have been a great episode. JC, 1 Road Warrior, 2 Fury Road. Really? I wouldn't rate it that high. I would put that on the bottom. 3 Mad Max, first one, and 4 Thunderdome. I like Thunderdome because of Master Blaster. Mechanoid is here. Am I saying that right? Mechanoid? Mechanoid. Tonight on Mechanoid. Mechanoid has to stop a bunch of bank robbers and save a little girl. Tonight on Mechanoid. Mechanoid says, Fury Road was good fun. A bit of surreal roller coaster. Mad Max Original 2 just had the grit and realism. Yes, and real stunts. And those stunts aren't that hard. They're in the middle of a desert. There's like, it's not like they're going to run into much. Mechanoid, yes, LOL. Tonight on Mechanoid. Mechanoid helps an old army buddy go after gangsters who are trying to close his bar. Tonight on Mechanoid. That used to be television all the damn time. It was great. It was always detective shows, and it was usually pretty gritty, by the way. In fact, I remember back in the 70s, I used to watch Kojak, right? I'm a little kid. I shouldn't be watching Kojak, but it's the 70s. We did what we wanted. So I'm watching Kojak, and there's a scene, and it got really bloody where they shoot this dude, and he just shot him, and blood is going everywhere. And I'm like, how old was I watching? I must have been like 10, and I'm like watching it going, oh my God, what the hell? That's a lot of blood. Is that what happens when you get shot? And he goes down, and then I think like a week later, or it was that week, they passed a law saying they can't show that much blood on television. Like you couldn't show people getting shot or something, and they like because everybody was outraged by that episode. But I saw it like when it aired, and yeah, didn't hurt me. It was bloody though. JC, Road Warrior, they were flying off the road into piles of boxes to break their fall. Were they? I don't remember that. I just remember deserts. James, Bikini Girl, Mad Max, sign me up. Exactly. Holly M, Telly Savalas was a class act. You knew it, baby. Mechanoid. Haha, love. Reminds me of the Simpsons MacGyver take. It's exactly what it is. That's what MacGyver, or, no, what was his name? McGarnagle. McGarnagle was the character on The Simpsons, who was supposed to embody, like, all the characters. He was sort of like Dirty Harry, but like all those old detective shows. Tonight on McGarnagle. McGarnagle's got to save a little boy who has to testify in a trial. Am I gonna be okay, McGarnagle? Don't you worry, Timmy. Well, McGarnagle, Timmy's dead. That was it. It was kind of brutal. And then they eventually backed off of it. The best of all that era to me was the Rockford Files. Oh man, the Rockford Files is so awesome. I love that show. JC, that's how they did the stunts, falling into piles of empty cardboard boxes. I watched behind the scenes documentary. Oh, okay. So instead of cushions, they had cardboard boxes. Well, they have some give. That's what they would do in the 70s all the time. Like if somebody was running through an alley and they got tackled, they'd always tackle them on cardboard boxes because I assume they stuffed the cardboard boxes like it was hiding it like a mattress. And then the cardboard would just collapse. It would look like trash. And then same thing if the cars were driving through them, then the cardboard would just go flying on whatever was on top. Zevik, Rockford Files was awesome. Oh, so good. Every episode was classic. All right. Let's get into some box office, Joan. You ready? Oh boy, you're comfy. Okay. See what happened this week. Man, it's grim. It is grim. First, let me tell you that the box office is $60 million this weekend. 60 million. I think last week was only 63. That is low. That is low. I mean, 60 million? What are you kidding me? Holly M. Snowflake actors nowadays need cushions. We had cardboard boxes. We liked it. In my day, they used to actually, way back in the day, they shot wax bullets. They sometimes shot them at, I think they shot them at like windshields and glass. And then the idea was that the wax would hit and it would splinter in such a way that in black and white it would look like a bullet hole was made in the glass, and the splintering of the wax would look like the splintering of the window or the windshield, but it wouldn't actually penetrate. But, I mean, that was dangerous too. They were shooting at each other, you know. As we all know from The Crow, shooting even a blank can be very dangerous. But back in the day, that's when Hollywood had, you know, they were nuts. They were absolutely nuts. There were no rules. JC, it's January going into February, although you'd think the Oscar movies being announced would give the box office a boost. A lot of them aren't even in the theaters, but I think they're waiting slightly. Maybe February they'll all start to come back out. But let's look at it. The Beekeeper, which was number 2 last week, is number 1. It's 7.4 million, which isn't very much, but I'm kind of happy it's number 1 because I didn't want Mean Girls to keep winning. F Mean Girls, screw that. Beekeeper is at least a normal movie. I like Jason Statham. This is directed by the guy who did the first Suicide Squad movie, David Ayer, who still contends his Suicide Squad movie got ruined by the studio. I don't know how real that is, but I mean, I hear Suicide Squad is pretty unwatchable. But the Beekeeper movie looks like a standard Jason Statham kills everybody movie. I'm fine with that. 86 million. Um, so I don't know if that's money though. What's the budget on this thing? Do we have a budget? No. I mean, 86 million. Could this be $40 million? It could be. A lot of stunts in it though. Jason Statham is the only guy I recognized in the movie, I think. So they could have been a lean 40 million. It should be. Movie like this, it shouldn't be like $100 million. Looked like there were some crazy stunts in it. So Statham, I like him. I like him in movies where he kills people. I mean, I like those movies, but he's good in the role. You know, it's weird. He kind of got more serious. He was a little more loose back in the days when he was Guy Ritchie's go-to guy, and he was in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and what was it called? Snatch, and I think he had hair in one of those movies. But you know, he does well in them. Number 2, Mean Girls, the musical. Ugh, 7.3 million. What's this making? 76 million. Hard to say if this is money. I would assume it would be. Oh, here's the budget. 36 mil. Yeah, that's money. Okay. I would think it might be. I would have guessed it's a slightly higher production budget because, you know, there's music involved and they would have had to license the music, and there's going to be, but like the soundtrack would have made the money anyway. So, yeah, this is such a not movie for me. Mean Girls, the musical. Nah. I mean, the original Mean Girls, I wouldn't watch that either, but at least Tina Fey wrote it. She's kind of funny sometimes. I mean, I liked her on 30 Rock, but I don't know. These days, I'm kind of like, Tina Fey. Had enough of her. Number 3 is Wonka. Wonka. That's crazy. In its 7th week, and it's number 3. That shouldn't be. It should be far down on the list, but there's nothing else out, basically. So, this did pretty damn well. I mean, 552 million worldwide. That's money. That is money. And unfortunately, they're going to make a Wonka 2. I know it. There's no way they're not making a sequel to this thing. And I assume at some point they'll just remake Charlie and the Chocolate Factory again, I guess. You know, it was bad enough they remade it with Johnny Depp. Now they're going to remake it with this guy. I mean, you know, Gene Wilder basically made a perfect movie. I mean, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a perfect movie. It's great from beginning to end. It has everything in it you want. Why remake this movie? Why? It's Hollywood. They just can't leave well enough alone. Now, if you made a sequel, that would be kind of cool. I think there was a sequel. I believe there's a book. There's a sequel book about Charlie running the factory, I guess. They haven't done that. Oh, but prequels, because it's a trend, you understand. See, Star Wars did it, now we have to do it. This has been a trend for 30 years. It's no longer a trend, it's just a tired exercise, Hollywood. Stop making prequels of everything, make sequels, move forward. I feel like I'm trapped in time, like in The Matrix. Remember in The Matrix, the first one, the good one, where they said, oh, you know, we're actually trapped in the year. It's actually further into the future, but we feel like we're trapped in the 90s because the robots kind of stuck us here in the simulation. That's what I feel like. I feel like we're in the simulation. And they absolutely will not move forward on anything. Even the world of Willy Wonka. Such, you know, I mean, I love movies. I love writing movies. I love writing stories. But at the end of the day, it's still just a damn movie. Right, Joan? I know. Even Joan's sick. She's ready to leave. JEC. Sequel book is something about the glass elevator flying through space. My teacher read it to my class in like the third grade. The whole thing is about that? I knew part of it was about the glass elevator. That's weird. Oh, maybe that wouldn't make a good sequel. Still, though, they rewrite everything else. Why not just rewrite a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? You know, started in the modern era. Because, like, Willy Wonka already felt like it was in the past, right? Even though it's kind of the modern day, but kind of not. You could just start it as if Gene Wilder's... I'm getting a text. No, that's nothing. You could start it as if Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka took place when it was done, and then you started 50 years later. You get an older actor to play Charlie, or I think the original actor's still alive, but they wouldn't get him. And a young kid to play the new guy. James, I agree. We should be making sequels, not thousands of spin-offs, etc. JC, it's like Willy Wonka crossed with Moonraker 07. The beginning of Moonraker's good. I like the beginning of Moonraker. It's like a normal James Bond movie. And then once it gets up into space, you're like, what? Come on. He doesn't belong here. Why? Why are you doing this? The scenes in Italy are good. But yeah, it gets campy. Moonraker. All right, Joan. Joan's leaving. Oh, too hot anyway. Holly, he is no longer an actor. He is a vet. Okay. Well, probably didn't want to be in it anyway after all these years. You know, get a veteran. You should I think, though, you should offer him a cameo at least. Put Charlie in there in a cameo. One of the townspeople. Holly M., the kid from the movie, yeah. He's a vet, huh? Who would I cast as current-day Willy Wonka? I don't know. Somebody would have to be, maybe like Steve Carell. He's not really old enough. But someone like that. Maybe Will Ferrell. He's got curly hair like Gene Wilder, so that would kind of be like a callback. That would be cool. Or you could do his hair like Charlie. And then have another kid. JC, Roald Dahl did write the screenplay to You Only Live Twice. He did? Are you kidding me? Are you messing with me? No way. I'm looking it up right now. I have the IMDb. Only Live Twice. Is my mind about to be blown? There's no way he wrote that. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, he did. Oh my God. Really? Wow. And Ian Fleming is credited. Ardent, say what? Yeah, he's on here. He's right. JC's always right. Harold Jack Bloom, Roald Dahl, and Ian Fleming. That's crazy. That is crazy. He wrote the screenplay, yeah. He wrote the screenplay. Harold Jack Bloom had additional story. Ian Fleming wrote the novel. Jeffrey Jenkins had a story idea, is uncredited. Why is Ian Fleming uncredited? Ardent, GD. Yeah, GD indeed. That is crazy. What else did he write? Let's look up Roald Dahl's credits. See if he wrote any other screenplays I like. Let's see. Oh, he's got a lot of credits. Let's see. A lot of shorts. James and the Giant Peach. Let's get these all out. Oh no, that's the book. I'm not counting the books. We're looking for screenplays. Writer for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Coyote Cavern Productions. What? Nah, that's not the original movie. I assume he wrote the original story though. Book, story. Here is screenplay. Welcome to the Basement TV series. JC, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was an Ian Fleming children's book, and Roald Dahl wrote the screenplay to that too. That's crazy. That's crazy. Revolting Rhymes, a TV miniseries. This was 2016. Oh no, that was based on his book, I guess. Welcome to the Basement, screenplay credit. Wow. Good for him, man. Chippendale, short, he's credited as a writer. Mr. Fantastic Fox, I saw that movie. That was pretty good. But he wrote the book on that. Look, man, he's got all his books basically listed here. Oh, let's go way back. God, I'm in the 70s here. Here's a TV movie he wrote, Le Coeur Mowgli. TV movie, James and the Giant Peach. There you go. He wrote that. TV series, Ut de Rervald van Roldal. So, Elite Gross TV miniseries. Here's Willy Wonka and a Chocolate Factory book. Screenplay, The Night Digger. Have to say that correctly. Jesus. Fleming and Dahl were both in the British Secret Service during World War II. Might be a connection there. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, he did write the screenplay for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. There it is, 1968. I like that movie too. That's a fun movie. The flying car. I saw that when I was a kid. Not when it was in theaters. I guess I saw it on TV because I would have been 2. I saw it on, like, they used to have on ABC The Wonderful World of Disney, and they would just run old movies. There it is. You Only Live Twice. And yeah, he had some TV credits. Oh, there's an Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Look at that. Which one is this? 6 episodes? That's crazy. Roald Dahl. 6 episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The Night what? Yeah, exactly. I said it correctly. YouTube. And a bunch of other TV shows I've never heard. CBS Television Workshop. God, that was 1952. JC loved Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Had the VHS as a kid. I watched it a million times. Dick Van Dyke trying to cash in on Mary Poppins. Yeah. Yeah, it was cute, though. It's cute. Dick Van Dyke, there's a guy. He's still alive. I think he's in his 90s. And I think his wife is in her 40s or 50s. Something like that. And he's still walking around. He's still kind of with it. It's amazing. Every once in a while, he shows up in something. Wow, I'm very impressed with Roald Dahl's resume. That's crazy. That is nuts. Nominated for 1 Primetime Emmy, 2 wins, and 2 nominations. Huh. Wow. When did he die? 1990. 1990 at 74. Yeah, 74. Learning stuff today. All right. Let's get back to the box office such that it is. I'm glad we have these distractions because the box office is pathetic. Number 4 is Migration, which was at number 4, I believe, last week. And 5.1 million, which isn't bad. But, like, this has been in the movie 6 weeks. There's nothing to replace it. So this is, 206 million. It cracked 200 million, so this is doing well. I mean, for this market, expect a sequel to that. Anyone But You. God, if only I had shot and released a movie this month, it would be in the theaters for like a month and a half. I could say, oh, it was in the top 5 for like 6 weeks, and people would be very impressed till they looked it up. Anyone But You, 126 million. This movie probably cost nothing to shoot. The most expensive part of this movie was the hotels for all the actors out in the middle of, it's probably Hawaii or someplace like that. Isn't it great to be an actor? Think about this. They got to shoot in exotic locations. I remember when they shot God, that there's like a two franchise movie. I think it's called FX or the FX guy or something like that. And like it's about a guy who does special effects in a movie and he gets revenge. Brian Dennehy's in it. And they shot a sequel to the movie, and the plot centers around them trying to get these coins from the Vatican and return them. And the last shot of the movie, they go to the Vatican to return the coins, and like the clever moment is Brian Dennehy and the main, I forget the actor or the other actor, puts these incredibly valuable coins into the little offering plate and gives them back to the church. But they only shot this one scene in Italy, but that's how great it is to be an actor, because like part of the deal was probably like to get Brian Dennehy, who was kind of a name at the time, to be in the film again. Oh, at the end of the movie, we're going to shoot a scene in Italy, so you get to go to Italy for free. So imagine you're way paid to Italy. They got to send you, got to bring you back, and you're going to stay there already a few days to shoot, at least, say a week. And then you just bring your family, have basically a free vacation in Italy. You stay like an extra week or two or whatever. Zebek. Yeah, it's just called FX. Yeah, they're pretty good movies. The first one's better. The second one's okay, but the first one's pretty good. He uses all his special effects abilities to solve mysteries and get the bad guys. And trick them. I think there's a scene where they trick a bunch of bad guys into thinking he's shot. It's been so long since I saw those movies, but they were good. But yeah, this is the same kind of thing. Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, they go off to a tropical paradise to shoot a movie for probably like 8 months. It's like a free vacation. You're working, you're getting paid insane amounts of money. I mean, what could be better? What could be better? Yeah, I mean, there are some aspects to being in a movie that suck, but now you know why people do it. Imagine you get to go to a tropical paradise for months during the best weather to be in a movie, and you're getting paid an insane amount of money. What do you do after? That's what I want to know. I guess after you go home, because you kind of like miss your place and your pets or whatever. But God, what a great gig. What a great gig to be like, okay, you're in this movie, you're going to go to Hawaii for 2 months, you're going to shoot the movie, you're going to get paid all this money, and then you come home. What could be better? And then you don't even have to make the movie. You just have to say the lines. Actors have it great sometimes. Plus, they're all beautiful, and they're all probably banging each other. Still, I believe that. All right, premiering at number 6. So this is the first new movie of the week, or weekend. Fighter, 3.6 million, but it's only in 662 theaters. I don't know what this is. Fighter. What is Fighter? Okay, we're going to have to go to the IMDb because there's nothing here. I don't think I saw a... Oh, is this a Bollywood movie? Yeah, it looks like a... No, maybe? Is it a Bollywood? What is this? Top IAF aviators come together in the face of imminent danger from air dragons. Fighter unfolds their camaraderie, brotherhood, and battles. Is it real dragons? Or is it It looks like a Top Gun knockoff. Mechanoid. Brian Brown. He was good in Cocktail 2. Yes, that's the guy's name. Thank you. So, yeah, this just looks like another Top Gun. I guess. I didn't even hear about this movie. She looks like... I can't tell if he is Indian. Oh, there's a lot of Indians in the credits. So it's Indian Top Gun, maybe? Oh, that is definitely more Bollywood. If they're singing and dancing in the movie at the end with the cast. So maybe this is a Bollywood thing? Possibly. Yeah, that's another actor I recognize from a lot of Bollywood stuff. Okay, now I'm seeing the flags. All right, Okay. Cool. Let me get back to where I was. So that's a Bollywood movie in the United States. Again, 4.2 million domestic, but we have no numbers on. Why won't you give us Bollywood numbers? The numbers? Why? Are rupees like worth more money? You don't want to embarrass Hollywood? Come on, tell us. I wonder if I could find. I'll have to look on that next week. I need to find a site that tells me about the Indian box office. Let's look right now, just real quick. Maybe one will pop right up. Indian box movie. I better type in movie box office. Highest grossing films. Hindi movie box office report Times of India. So maybe this site. I don't know. I'll have to sort through it, but we definitely need a pipeline to that. Number 7, from 10, Poor Things. JC, theater ticket is probably like 20 cents in India. But yeah, but there's so many more people. I don't know. I don't know how rupees translate at all. But Poor Things jumped from 10 to 7. $3 million, but it's in 890 more theaters. They really want this movie to succeed. Here's your Oscar bait. This is up for all kinds of things. 38 million. I don't know. I bet this thing ain't going to do well overseas. I can't imagine this thing is less than $50 million because there's too many effects in it, too much costuming. This is Feminist Frankenstein. If you haven't gotten on board with what Poor Things is about, bizarre movie where William Dafoe is the Frankenstein, and there's a prostitute who kills herself, and then he puts the brain of a toddler to resurrect the body, and it just sounds greasy talking about it. I don't like it. But everybody in Hollywood's crowing about it. Oh, Poor Things. It's so daring. Because she's so sexual, you see. Emma Stone being sexual. JC, Poor Things looks weird and off-putting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is off-putting. I just, if you had told me when Emma Stone, who's pretty much a smoke show, was in a movie where she was going to be very sexual, I'd be like, ooh. But like that doesn't look fun. Put Emma Stone in a bikini, then you got a movie. Emma Stone as the bikini girl in Mad Max. Yes. There you go. Whatever happened to the bikini? Bring back the bikini. Hashtag bring back the bikini. Number 8 is American Fiction. Now, this movie actually looks good. Up from 12. 2.8 million. They threw it, again, another Oscar contender. It's somehow gotten to the Oscar pipeline. But this one, I think, so far, I suspect that it deserves a little recognition. I haven't seen it yet. But I think this does take on book publishing and some of the tropes that Hollywood has ignored. But I think Hollywood let this one pass because I believe, most of the cast is black, so it can be woke without, they can say, oh well, we made another woke movie and gave a bunch of black actors jobs, so you can't criticize us. So even if anybody complains about the message in the movie, they'll sort of be covered, I guess. But what I saw from the trailer looks really good, even though I'm not a big fan of Jeffrey Wright's politics. He's got TDS really bad, but I'm a little surprised he's even in a movie like this because I don't know if you know the plot. So the plot is he is a black academic professor who writes these books, but he can't sell them. Nobody really reads them. And he's working with his publisher on his next book, and the publisher, or he's working with a guy. I don't know if it's his publisher, but the people, the money people are like, well, the book has to be black, and Jeffrey Wright just keeps going, but I am black, and like what they mean by that is they want it to be like ghetto, really ghetto-y, right? And he goes to a book fair and he sees a woman win all these awards, and her book is just nonstop, page after page of like ghetto speak, for lack of a better term, right? So it's like they want books by black authors, but then they want these, they want these stereotypes essentially. So he gets drunk one night and writes an entire book, which is essentially a satire of that, and hands it in, and then of course everybody wants it. Next thing you know, he has to pretend he's like an ex-con, even though he's an academic, in order to sell his book so he can make all this money. But of course it blows up in his face. So but I like it. I mean, I like if it follows that path. I think it could have a good ending. It could be a send up of book publishing, and that's what book publishing has become. It's a nightmare. It used to be this. Book publishing used to be an institution where smart people, you had to be super smart and super talented. Now it's just, it's been so gutted. It's nothing. Book publishing is nothing. And quite frankly, I tell authors all the time, they should just self-publish. Don't even go to a publisher. Don't even waste your time. The ones that are genuine and nice, and there are some that are genuine and nice, they don't have any money. Not really. Not the kind of money you need. Maybe a handful of them do somewhere. I don't know. I've never met any of them. But, and maybe you might find one with, say, the biggest YouTube channel ever, like with 5 million subscribers. That might be a deal. But other than that, if you can't get exposure or money, there's no point in going to a publisher. You might as well do it yourself, because you will be doing it all yourself anyway. I signed deals where I had book publishers, and they were very nice people, but I wasn't making nothing on the book, and I was doing most of the advertising myself. And now that I'm doing it all myself, I'm making more money. I'm still not rich, but I'm like getting by. I couldn't get by before. It was just a hobby. And I didn't get much out of it. In terms of sales, in terms of freebies, nothing. So unless you're a celebrity, unless you're a politician, or unless you're in the pipeline, and now you have to be woke as F to be in the pipeline, forget it. Just don't even waste your time. Because these people are going to take one look at you. Like people say, oh, the Pineys, that's going to be a TV show. It will probably never be a TV show unless Hollywood won't make it a TV show, because there's guns all over it. In fact, I designed the Pineys that there are so many guns, and guns are so crucial to everything that happens in the Pineys, you could never separate it. You would destroy it. If you pulled guns out of the Pineys, the whole thing would collapse. One of the main characters, Hemingway, he's just an absolute fan of guns and talks about them all the time, at least in the first 2 books. And the other books too. And you just couldn't pull it out of the Pineys without the whole thing collapsing. Now maybe in 10 years or so, maybe after we're out of this woke era, maybe things will turn around. But Zevik agrees. Yeah, it would make a great show. Yes, it would. The Pineys. That's exactly how I designed it. But right now, Daily Wire could do it if they had, if Jeremy Boring wanted to throw me like a couple of $100 million to make it. But it's hard to monetize when you're outside the system. See, Zevik's Demise web series? Maybe. If I get some guys to do it, but it's tough. It's tough to shoot things. I've been there. You need a crew of guys. You need, even if you don't have any money, you at least need enough money that people can live while you're shooting it until you start making money off of it. And that's really the hardest part for people with very little money. It's not the actual production. The actual production doesn't cost you much anymore because it's all shot on video. So once you have the camera or have access to a camera, all you need is a computer, files. It's not that much. Some lights, and you shoot in locations, and the Pineys would be mostly in the woods. But the real expense comes from getting everybody together on certain days and spending their time. Because if they're not getting paid up front, and a lot of small productions are like that, you know, you're at the mercy of people who, they got lives. And initially they may be very excited to be in it, but if they're not getting paid, you know, that excitement can't carry you through. You know, I was in comedy troupes where we tried to shoot stuff, and these were people I worked in comedy with, and even they would just run out of gas. They would just get bored or whatever. It's tough. In college we could do it because in college everybody has free time, and we really wanted to make comedy, but outside of college it's nearly impossible to get enough people. It's just, unless you have money. If you have money and you can pay people, oh yeah, you can do it. So, if any of you are millionaires, shoot me an email. Number 9 is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, down from 6. 2.8 million. Again, there's just nothing out. It's going out of theaters, but it's still in over 2,000 theaters. And this movie, I believe, made money. Yeah, it just made money. Because it's $205 million production and 412 return. So that's money. Not much in the scheme of things. I mean, really, you want this at least 600 million to really make any money, but you made all your money back and then some. That's a win, especially for a movie like this that they thought could potentially completely tank. The fact that this movie did as well as it did, Warner Brothers really has nothing to be ashamed about. Plus, I don't think they spent as much on advertising. The formula for the advertising probably isn't true on Aquaman. They probably didn't spend $200 million on advertising. They probably spent like, I don't know, $50 million. So they probably made like $100 million on this movie. Plus everything they make from here on in. I mean, this $2.8 million, that's all profit now. They're in profit mode, I would say. Number 10, your boy, Godzilla -1, $2.6 million. Did they put it in more theaters? It looks like it. 102. It broke 100 million. 102 million. That's not bad for a $15 million movie. Ain't bad at all. This is what Hollywood should be shooting for. $15 million is still a lot of money. For $15 million, yeah, I could shoot the first Pineys movie. Absolutely, easily. Or, you know, could shoot the pilot, and for probably, I would say you'd shoot the pilot for like 2 to 5 million, somewhere in there, if you got it down to an hour. But if you shot it as a 2-hour movie, you could do it for 15 million, I think. The effects would be the biggest expense, I think. And me. I need iced tea all the time. I need a guy on the set who just makes me iced tea. That's all your job is to do. Make me iced tea. Well, can I sit in on the readings? No. You have to be making my iced tea back at my trailer. Do not sit in on the readings. Make my iced tea. Okay, Mr. DiGerolamo. Yes. Now you're okay. You're gonna go far in this business, kid. That's me on the set of the Pineys. Number 11, The Boys in the Boat, directed by George Clooney, 2.2 million. That's not a bad weekend, but 49 million. What did this movie cost? No idea. Probably didn't cost a lot, though. I mean, a lot of boat rowing. So, number 12, Night Swim, down from 8. 2.1 million. Going out of theaters, but 41 million. That's got to be money for a horror movie. Ain't no way a horror movie costs too much money. Horror movies are cheap. Number 13 is Origin. God, they're pushing this movie hard. Now, it's only in 125 theaters. It did 1.4 million, but it's in its 8th week, and that's about half of what it made. It's only made 2.6 million. This is Anna DuVernay's movie, and they are pushing and pushing and pushing her. They have pushed her. Everything she does, man, gets pushed and pushed and pushed. The only thing I can think of is, I believe she's Oprah's friend, and I think she was involved in Wrinkle in Time and a couple of the other Oprah projects. So I guess behind the scenes, maybe, because Oprah's so ensconced that maybe she's pushing it hard, but I don't know why. Ava DuVernay, it seems to me every one of her projects is just this, like, she reminds me of like one of these college students who talks in these grandiose terms, but doesn't have any real world practical knowledge of things. It doesn't understand that just because she envisions something doesn't mean it's going to happen. Like JC, she made Selma. How did that do? Did that do any good? Selma. Let's see. See if that made any money. Didn't even come out. Oh, wait, here it is. That was 2015. Did 66 million worldwide for a $20 million production. Okay. All right, that's money. Ardent, Anna DuVernay. The Black Sarah Pauli. I don't know. She made Naomi. Selma was a piece of so boring, says JEC. Yeah, it's kind of been done to death. I mean, it made money, so that's a win for Hollywood. But, they gave Origin and... First off, Naomi should have never been greenlit. Naomi was black girl superhero who was a fan of Superman, takes place in the DC universe, and then she's living in some backwater town, and aliens come and somehow give her superpowers or something like that. I don't remember. But the show, like, immediately was done. It was DOA. I don't even think... Did they air all the episodes? I don't know if they did. It came out right around the time of, like, Batwoman. Like, during that era. And then this. And I watched this trailer, and it's just, like, confusing. And it's based on a book called Cast, and it's Selma, at least, it's based on a historical event. She has a structure to frame the movie around. And people kind of like those movies anyway they like movies about historical events that are positive. Yeah, I don't know what the budget was on this thing, but 2.6 million. Yeah, say it's a $20 million budget. I mean, that's going to be a big loss. And I don't see an audience for this movie. I mean, maybe if you made it for $1 million, sure. But John Bernthal's in it, the Punisher. So, he ain't cheap. And I don't know. And I think they put it in the Oscar mix, but it doesn't. I don't think it got a lot of noms. I think it got one. Number 14 is ISS. This is from Bleecker Street. JC, pacing in Selma is terrible. Movie starts over 3 times. No momentum through the picture. Oh, wow. You really saw that movie. Yeah, I just wouldn't even see a movie like Selma, only because I've seen, 15 movies about Selma or that era, and it's just like, unless you got some new angle on it, it's just like, oh, we're going to do this again? I already know the history of that. Like, I don't have anything against it. I've seen some good movies about it, but, how many times can you watch it? It's kind of like the war movies. They've done so many of them. If you're going to do another war movie, at least give me a new angle. give me some figure in that history. Like the most recent one from that era, from the Selma era, they focused on a figure in MLK's crew who helped put together the March on Washington. I forget what that was called. It was named after him, and he was black and gay. I don't know how Hollywood missed him, but they centered the whole movie around him. And I said, okay, at least that's a new angle. But I don't know how many people would be interested. Again, it's like you're drilling down into the same things over and over again. Other stuff has happened since then. You know? Other stuff has happened. So, you know, stuff happened in the 80s. You know, stuff happened in the 90s. Stuff happened in the 2000s. How about movies about that? You know, if you're going to do movies, I mean, show us something new. But ISS, International Space Station, this is 1.3 million from Bleecker Street. James, Letters from Iwo Jima, 2000 and... Sorry, I can never see the end of... I think that's 8. Is pretty good modern war film. Yeah, and 2006. Well, sort of modern. Yeah, I mean, kind of in the modern era. And the neat thing about that is he made 2 movies, right? He made Letters from Iwo Jima, and then the other movie, which is from the Japanese point of view, which I forget what that one's called. And that one's insane. Oh my God, the hand grenade scene is totally insane in that movie. See that? That was great. I didn't see the Letters of Iwo Jima, but I saw the other movie, and the hand grenade scene is crazy. So well made. ISS though, from Bleecker Street, 1.3 million. This movie actually looks pretty good, but Bleecker Street for a long time was a kind of company that they made low budget films and just kind of put them out there, and they kind of wouldn't do anything. This premise I thought was pretty good. 5.5 million. This could be money because this takes place on the space station, which would all be inside. Like 90% of it would be inside, and there's a couple of scenes outside with special effects. But I mean, the fact that it would all be inside would probably save them a lot of money. They could shoot that all on a soundstage and just throw in a few scenes on the outside. But I believe the premise is a war starts back on Earth, and then the crews, it's a Russian crew and an American crew, and they're ordered to take the space station. And it's about them going back and forth. I think it's that one. Hope I'm not confusing it with another movie. I did see the trailer for it, but I see so many trailers. I thought it was a good premise. So maybe this... it looked very mainstream for Bleecker. Bleecker's movies tended to be like... They looked okay, but they looked more like a B movie. A lot of them, but that one looked pretty high-end for them. Number 15, The Iron Claw, a movie I expected to do way better, but apparently it made money. Did 34 million. Didn't cost a lot to shoot, if I'm recalling. No, it only cost about half that. 15.9 million to shoot. So that's money, just kind of barely, but hey, that's money. That's not bad for a movie that only costs $16 million, right? If you make $3 million on it, that's a lot closer than, say, Aquaman, which is only up maybe about $3 million, but it cost, they had to put out $205 million and then possibly anywhere from 100 to 200 million on top of that. So, I mean, percentage-wise, that's a better record. Zone of Interest. This is another big war movie, I'll say, about the big war. You know the one I'm talking about. However, it does have a different angle, and this is also Oscar bait. The angle is, it's about the home life of people who worked in terrible places, I'll just say. I think, I don't really know because I saw the trailer, but it's not very informative. But 1 million, 3 million. It's only made $3 million, but it's an art house movie at this point. It's only been in 300 theaters. Hello. Yeah, it's only made 3.2 million. Mechanoid. Dunkirk was a good modern world WW2 movie, I'll say. Essentially a long and time limited escape off a beach, like a reverse Normandy, and told in 3 different perspectives and not necessarily in chronological order. Yeah, I've heard great things about Dunkirk, but I think I started watching it. For some reason, I never finished it. It wasn't the fault of the movie, though. Something happened, and I couldn't watch the end. I don't remember. But Tom Hardy's in that one, right? Isn't Tom Hardy's in it? He's a pilot, I think. But yeah, this isn't enough money. $3 million. That's not enough money. But this is definitely Oscar bait. It could win an Oscar for something. I know it's on the list of being nominated. So this could come back, and it looks like they're jamming it into more theaters. So maybe they're slowly ramping it up. But it's been in theaters for 7 weeks. So I guess. And next is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer made $1 million this week? That's crazy because it did not make that kind of money last week, if I recall correctly. So it's up to $956 million. They're going to push this thing over $1 billion. I think they're absolutely determined. I mean, if you could make $1 million a week, maybe you could do it. Maybe by next year, Oppenheimer will finally crack $1 billion. But yeah, this is all over the Oscars. I think it's 13 nominations for Oppenheimer. All the big ones, just about. This is the kind of movie that wins Oscars. It's big. It has a really good cast. It has a big name cast. It has a big name director who, hasn't beclowned himself in any way. Same thing with the actors. It's a safe choice for like 90% of the Academy. Anybody who's not like super ultra woke, they would totally pick this movie because picking Barbie is like, look, just because a movie makes money. I mean, the Mario Brothers made $1 billion too. I don't see any nominations for Mario Brothers. Nominating a movie that based on a toy. I mean, you could argue like, oh, the movie's important. I don't know if it was an important movie. I think it'll be forgotten in a few years, but it did do very well. People like it. I don't fault people for liking Barbie, but does it deserve an Oscar? Probably not. Maybe for the music, maybe for the costumes and things like that. You're going to tell me that Barbie's more important story than Oppenheimer? It's kind of a tough sell. You're kind of a tough sell there. So, yeah, I think this movie could win a ton of Oscars. It's going to have to win some. I mean, I think they're going to give one to Barbie at least somewhere because they're worried about the Barbie stands going nuts, I guess. But Barbie only has to win one, and they could call it the Oscar-winning movie Barbie. Put it back in theaters if you want, but I think at this point, kind of pointless to put it back in theaters. I think everybody who wanted to see Barbie has seen it. Anybody who hasn't can see it. I believe it's on Max right now. Oppenheimer, I think, they're going to keep it hanging around in theaters for a little while longer. I don't think it's going to streaming yet. I don't think it did. Did it? Is it streaming? I know Barbie is. Barbie's on Max. Don't think Oppenheimer is yet. Which is interesting because Barbie, probably the more popular movie, you could argue. Why would that go on streaming first and not Oppenheimer? Because Oppenheimer, they want to crack $1 billion. It's just that number, I think, they're focused on. 28 weeks it's been in theaters. 28 weeks. It's been in theaters 7 months. Think on that. Is Barbie on this list somewhere? No. Okay. The Boy and the Heron still in theaters. $660,000, $159 million, probably money, because it's a foreign film and they don't spend the kind of money we do. The Holdovers, $520,000, and I am shocked, but this is all over the Oscars. The Holdovers was totally nominated for several different Oscars, $31 million. So, yeah, I don't have a budget on this one, but this is one I think could do well if they put this back in theaters or keep it in theaters. Look, they put it in. It's up to 1,200 theaters now. Wow, that's a much wider release. They should have given this a wide release, though. This is, to me, this is like a regular movie, even though it takes place in I think in the 70s or early 80s. I think it was just a normal movie about kids in college or whatever growing up, and coming of age movie. This is a very common thing. Should have gotten wide release. I don't know why it didn't. But maybe now that it's in the Oscar pipeline, they'll give it a wider release. It seems they have, and then it'll do better. I don't know. Dropping to about 20 from 14 is the Book of Clarence in its third week. And I still continue to get flack in my YouTube comments for criticizing this movie. $437,000, $5.5 million. There's no way that's money, I would say. No word on the budget. Now, Benedict Cumberbatch is in it, and James McAvoy is in it. And it's basically kind of like, they kind of pitched it like, almost like a Black Life of Brian kind of thing, because the idea is Clarence, there's a lot of messiahs, and first off, there's like a black cast that are in Jerusalem, which I don't think they bother to really explain, other than the idea that, well, because it's the Mediterranean, obviously everybody was black. I don't know why they're there, but it's kind of like a Black Life of Brian, but it doesn't seem to have the fun or the satire that Life of Brian has, or at least not in the trailer. It just kind of like was okay, because the premise is, unlike Life of Brian, who sort of falls into being mistaken for the Messiah, Clarence decides he's going to be like grift on the whole Messiah thing, because he hears about Jesus or something, and then he decides that he's going to be like Jesus, but then, he's just grifting. But then it gets him into trouble. So it could be, the premise is good. I like the premise. You could have fun with that premise. But they don't seem to go all the way with it, and some of it seems to get serious. So, I don't know. It doesn't look good. It's too muddled. Like, you should have gone all the way with it. Just, like, cast every black actor known to man in it, and have fun running around in biblical times. I wouldn't get tropey with it, but, you could have fun with a movie like that. But it doesn't appear to be fun. It appears to be, like, trying to push something. But, man, did I get flack for criticizing it. And I'm just like, it's just a movie, people. It's just a movie. After that is The Color Purple, the musical, $430,000, going out of theaters. I don't get this one either. Another musical. Another movie. Book to movie to musical to movie. Crazy. All of Us Strangers, $402,000. The gay Professor Moriarty movie, premiering somewhere around 22 or 25 maybe, is Miller's Girl. This is only in 350 theaters, which I'm shocked, because this is Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman are in this movie. And the premise is, she is a young student. I want to say it could be high school, but I think it's supposed to be, maybe she's a freshman in college. But either way, it's like there is tension between them, and Are they having an affair? Are they not having an affair movie? It's the movie version of Don't Stand Too Close to Me. If you've ever heard that Police song. I love that Police song. So I'm surprised they didn't just pour money into this advertising, and maybe they did. I can't believe that it's only in 350 theaters. I would think this movie would do well with Jenna Ortega in it and Martin Freeman. People know who he is. What happened? Why wouldn't you advertise this movie? Now I wouldn't go see it. I don't really think. I mean, maybe if there was a topless scene and they were pushing that, maybe. But nah. I mean, it's drama. I can wait on drama, but there's a lot of people I think would see this movie. Speaking of topless, I finally did see, I don't know if you saw my review of No Hard Feelings, where Jennifer Lawrence is completely nude. It's so funny. That scene is funny too. It's not sexy at all. She's just naked and mad. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they didn't. I mean, if I was running Lionsgate and I had produced Miller's Girl, unless that movie was total trash, maybe it is, I would have been like, oh, we got to put some money behind this. We got to get this in every theater in America. And put Jenna Ortega's face on it. I don't know what they're doing. These guys don't know how to make movies anymore. They don't know how to advertise them. They don't know how to make them. They don't know how to write them. I mean, eventually I just expect to go to the movie theater and halfway through the movie, the film just breaks and nobody knows how to fix it and I have to get my money back. I mean, Jesus. It's so simple. She's the it girl of the moment. She's in the hottest TV show on what's left of television, Wednesday. She was just in Scream. Why wouldn't you advertise this movie? Why wouldn't you advertise the hell out of this movie, Lionsgate? I mean, I don't watch TV. Maybe they did, but doesn't seem like it. Trolls Band Together, somehow still in theaters. God, so sick of this thing, but they'll probably make a sequel. $270,000. The Hunger Games, same deal. $230,000. Killers of a Flower Moon, $220,000. Back in theaters. 941 theaters. Here is a movie they're definitely, this is Oscar bait right here. It didn't do well, I don't think, initially. Well, let's see. Let's see if they got a budget on this thing now. $156 million worldwide. Yeah, the budget is $200 million. They haven't even broken even on the budget. That is bad. But I'm not surprised. 3.5 hours? No thanks. But Variety will not stop talking about this damn movie. They interview Lily Gladstone, who plays the indigenous person in the movie. I don't know how many times they've interviewed her, but she's on Variety, it seems, every other day. Okay, I guess you give it a bunch of Oscars and maybe people will go see it, but I don't think people want to see it. Just saying. I don't think people want a half movie, half lecture on why we stole all the Indians' land. If you even believe that. I don't think we stole it. I think we conquered it. Sometimes we just bought it. They didn't really understand the concept of private property, but I mean, I think they could have saw it coming just taking one look at us. Oh, these guys are building buildings and they don't seem to be leaving and moving with the herd of buffalo. I don't think they're leaving. Anatomy of a Fall, also another one running in the Oscars, $211,000. But this is a foreign movie, so the rules are slightly different, but no one's really seen it in the States, although a few people I know have, and they say it's very good. It looks fine. It looks like a cool, like, thriller movie. Kind of, did she kill her husband? Did she not? You know, guy falls out a window and dies, and then it's all about whether or not her wife killed him. So it looks fine. I would say it. I'll probably catch it on streaming. And that's the problem too. Like, I guess with theaters right now, you can catch all this stuff on streaming eventually if you just wait. So there's no real push to see this stuff anymore, which is why theaters are dying, which is why theaters need to give us something. They need to give us a better experience so people go to the movies. Whether it's better food or cheaper prices or something. Eventually, they're going to have to be cheaper. That's the only thing you could do. Like, if you made the movies so cheap, you know, it would be almost as cheap to go to see the movie on a big screen rather than pay $5 on a streaming service for it, or $10 or whatever. You know, I mean, at least, because so many theaters I see, they're just empty, right? They're charging $12, $13, $14, $15 a ticket. Why not just slash the price of the ticket, at least for some of the movies, to get people in the damn theater, to make it look like it's not an empty warehouse? Or give us popcorn, or give us something. Like, to me, the move is free popcorn. All the popcorn's free now. Why? Well, number one, it's cheap. You make popcorn all day long. Who cares? Number two, if they buy popcorn, they get thirsty and they buy the beverages. So that would be the strategy. Yeah, give people a free bag of popcorn if they buy a ticket. Good. They eat it, they get thirsty, and they go, oh, wow, I need a drink now. Duh, this is what bars do. So then what you'd want to do is kick up your game in the beverage area. Start serving alcohol in cities where you could do that, or states you could do that. That to me would be the ideal solution for most movie theaters. Go see a movie and get wasted. People would, and do already do that to some extent, but yeah, let people come, get drunk, and watch a movie. They'll like the movie better. You'll make more money. Don't get so hung up about charging $5 for a tiny bag of popcorn. Oh, but we make so much money. Yeah, we know, because people who don't care pay for it. I just can't pay that kind of money anymore for popcorn. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Ferrari should have done better. I don't know. This movie just didn't do well. 36 million, yeah, it's a stinker. That one's kind of in the Oscar category too. I think that got at least one nod. Wish, how is this even still around? Kick it out of theaters. It's just taking up space. Thanksgiving, $81,000 this week. It's in 500. It's in more theaters this week. Why would you put this movie into more theaters? I don't know. All right, and then premiering. Sometimes I think about dying. Ooh, cheery. There's a cheery film for you. Sometimes I think about dying. $40,000. Oh boy, sign me up. Sounds exciting. The Sweet East. I think I saw the trailer for this. I think it's a love story with like millennials, or not millennials, Gen Z. Then also premiering Totem. Oh, I forget what this movie's about. I think I saw the trailer. $76,000. So, American Star in 47 theaters. Can't remember. Sounds familiar. It's in 47 theaters and made $9,000. That's not a good sign. That is not a good sign at all. And then Memory also looks very depressing. $5,500. And Radical still in theaters. It's still in 15 theaters. It's done. Take it out. Just take it out. There's so many. How come I see so many trailers, and then half the trailers I see aren't on this list? Where are those movies? They don't get released? Some of them are good. They look good. I don't get it.
I don't get it. Oh, and now I finally remember. One of you asked me about Roadhouse, and I completely forgot to answer your question on it. I believe it was Arden. So Roadhouse. Let's talk about Roadhouse momentarily. I did look at the trailer. I like it. And here's why. The original Roadhouse, and this may be controversial to some of you, it wasn't that good. Okay? It was just an 80s movie. They put them out all the time. You know, it was kind of a... Roadhouse, when it came out, was kind of a throwback to these movies that they used to make where it would be a few good old boys either rob a bank or get revenge or do something else, right? So it was kind of like a throwback to that movie, except it was set, you know, and he was a bouncer and you know the rest. And it was a vehicle for Patrick Swayze to flex his muscles and kick dudes in the face. So, Ardent, gas, Roadhouse sucked. Let's be real. Well, I don't want to say it sucked, but it just is what it was. It was a vehicle for Patrick Swayze. People liked it at the time because they liked Patrick Swayze. Guys liked it because dudes got punched in the face and it was fine for what it was. But Ardent, but it did play on the Rule of Cool, and Jeff Healey on the soundtrack was awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, it's fine. But the new one kind of ups the game. Now, it's not the same. I think it's the same character, supposedly, but he's a ex-UFC fighter who then is forced to be a bouncer to make money in Miami. So they pretty much changed it all around. They might as well have called it something else. They might as well have called it Roadhouse 2 and made Jake Gyllenhaal Patrick Swayze's son or something. But they didn't do that. They're doing the same thing with The Fall Guy, by the way, but Lee Majors is actually in that. So that one kind of has my blessing, even though it's kind of a reboot, but Lee Majors was the original Fall Guy. He's in it. At least they're paying homage to the history. This one doesn't seem like that. Ardent, one issue I have with the new one is no apparent Sam Elliott character. Oh, well, but they have not Ewan McGregor. They have Conor McGregor in it, who's an actual UFC fighter, I believe, right? Isn't that what he is? Seriously, the Fall Guy? Cool. Yeah. No, well, it's going to be Ryan Gosling in the main role, but I'm not sure if Lee Majors plays his dad or his granddad or whatever, but he's in it, so that's kind of cool. So Jake Gyllenhaal plays ex-UFC fighter, but Conor McGregor is his foil, and he's an actual fighter. So he's just playing himself. Exactly, says Ardent. Exactly. He's just playing himself, which is cool because that totally works, right? Like he's also a mean UFC fighter, but he's not like Jake Gyllenhaal where, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal is just playing a role. Like, Gyllenhaal's good. I like Gyllenhaal. I liked him in No Way Home, the Spider-Man movie. It was No Way Home, right? Or was it Far From Home? I forget. The Spider-Man movie he was in. He was great in that. He's been good in a couple other things. He's good on that train exploding time travel movie. I forget what that was called. That was pretty good. He's good. He's charismatic, and he got in shape for it. It's fine. He's going to kick dudes and take names. I mean, what more do you want from a movie? I would prefer, number one, they pay homage to the original movie. Maybe they do. It doesn't appear that they do. I would also prefer that they somehow make it a sequel to the first movie. But I don't think they're doing that either. I think they're just saying, oh, we're just doing a reboot. It's so far away from the original that they might as well have made a different movie. Or they might as well have called it Roadhouse 2 or Roadhouse Continues or whatever you want to call it. But they're just, they want to keep these IPs going. And I could totally see them doing another one. now. I mean, if it does well. Ardent, Far From Home, he played a decent Mysterio. The something protocol. Yeah, I forget what it's called. It was good. I like that movie. And he's great in the, was it Night Stalker? Not Night Stalker. The one where he plays like the creepy reporter. He's pretty good in that. Ardent, Roadhouse 2, Roader House. Or, I just, every time I hear Roadhouse, I can only think of that Family Guy bit where Peter is driving with his feet. Roadhouse, smack, and he smacks the steering wheel with his feet, and he keeps turning corners. Roadhouse, 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 Roadhouse. Ardent, Nightcrawler, yes, that's what it's called, I think. Nightcrawler, I think, says James. We'll just check really quick. I think it's Nightcrawler. It's a pretty good movie. Yeah, that's it. 2014, that was. Yeah, he's creepy in this. So, yeah. And that Covenant movie looked good, too, but I didn't see it. He looked good in that. So, yeah, I think Gyllenhaal will put on a decent performance. And, I think it'll be very watchable. Ardent, LOL, that Family Guy bit is hilarious. I know. I love that bit. Roadhouse. But, yeah, it is what it is. I think it's an improvement, honestly. I mean, it might be blasphemy to 80s fans' movies, but, I mean, it's clearer. Like, Patrick Swayze, he was just, it just comes out of kind of nowhere. It just kind of builds on nothing, whereas this one seems to be a little more pointed, which I like. I like the idea of Gyllenhaal as an action hero. Yeah, he was also in that bank robber movie where they used, I think it's called Ambulance, where they steal an ambulance and there's a whole thing. Ardent Button, new stuff, obviously preferred. Yeah. So, yeah, let him be a UFC fighter. I mean, he looks the role. He's ripped. So, yeah, why not? It's not like he's too old for the role. And he got totally jacked. I mean, I don't know why there's not enough action movies. So, that one should do well, I would think. All right, moving on to the trades over at Fandom Pulse. Oh, this is new. IO Interactive's James Bond Originals origin story Project 007 game promises ultimate spy fantasy? Maybe. I don't know. Everything that comes out of James Bond, I'm extremely wary of. Since they tried to wokeify him and were mostly successful, unfortunately. So, we'll see. DC Comics announces Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty's The Batman Family Year 1 box set. That could be good. I mean, he did write some good Nightwings. Big story this week was Vince McMahon resigning from the WWE or the company that owns it amid extreme sexual misconduct lawsuit. Razor Fist seems to think it's very sus, the entire situation around it. I don't know that much about wrestling. But didn't we just go through this with him? Like, I think maybe it's for money. Who knows? But and apparently he stepped away, but he's still kind of in control of the company, which doesn't surprise me. But this is the smart thing to do: is just step away, settle the whatever, go to court or settle it, and then waltz back in if everything goes well. So what else are you going to do? All right. So another big story this week was Erin Moriarty, got blasted all over Twitter for having plastic surgery. So you may have seen this article. However, let's see if they got the picture here. So here's the picture. Now, they initially put Erin here, let's see, with Erin from The Boys, right? And this picture, she looks bad. And, but Erin came out and said that this picture was actually taken before the normal picture of her from The Boys where her face looks normal. She claims that this picture, she hasn't had any plastic surgery, but this picture was after she got all this makeup, and it just looks like her face is very angular. And it's just the makeup, apparently, according to her. So I guess she didn't get plastic surgery. I mean, I think it would be easy to check or easy to prove, but apparently she is so mad about this, she quit social media, and she hasn't been eating or sleeping, and she's all messed up about it. Which is a shame, but stay off of social media, I would say. Look, if I get blasted on social media, if I was half as famous as her and I was getting blasted on social media, I would either ignore it or I would just stop going on it. Just go outside, touch grass. She doesn't need to be on social media. Like, guys like me need to be on social media because how am I going to sell books otherwise? She doesn't need to be on social media. She could disappear from social media for the next, as long as she's working on TV or movies or whatever, she's fine. She'll be fine. So, I don't know why these guys even go on social media if it's stressful. If you can make some money, some of these, she's very pretty. This is the better picture of her. She's gorgeous. She could make a ton of money on Instagram modeling clothes or whatever, depending on her contracts with the Boys or Amazon, but, who knows? But, I felt bad for her that she got so upset, but I wouldn't even have bothered to answer it. I just would have been like, no, I didn't have any surgery, dummies. Another thing that appears to be fake, or definitely was fake, was they took a panel from Nightwing and Superman, not this one. And not this one. Where is it? Do they have it on here? Yeah, this one. So, and they fooled me and they fooled Chuck Dixon. We thought this was real dialogue from DC Comics. It turns out somebody else wrote it. So, whatever. Once again, you fooled me again, Internet. Damn it. So I erased the Nightwing word balloon and then put my own dialogue in there, being annoyed by this. But turns out it wasn't true at all. So, I'm not a journalist, obviously. But at least I wasn't alone being fooled. So, don't yell at me. Yell at Chuck first. Okay, moving on to Variety. Mean Girls is virtually tied with The Beekeeper for first place in this unusually close box office battle. Gee, I wonder which movie Variety wants to win at the box office. Gee, I think they kind of have a little bias there, don't you think? But whatever. Yeah, The Beekeeper was number one. Usually you don't make that distinction, Variety. This is the first time I've ever seen you make the distinction. Well, they're virtually tied. Yeah, but The Beekeeper made more money. And Sunday's numbers aren't technically in. They're just projected. So it could still win. It's close enough that Mean Girls could edge it out. But I don't know why you bothered. Oh, yeah. And then the other big story this week was all about Taylor Swift's X-rated pics, I guess, made by AI. They're not real. But I don't know. I didn't see any of them. I saw, I did see one, but it wasn't X-rated. It was pretty racy, but it wasn't X-rated. Like, everything was covered. And, but but it implied something very sexual. So I can see why she wouldn't like it, but I don't know what you're going to do about it. You could ban all the AI you want, but people still have Photoshop. They still have the software. And if you make it and you don't make any money and you just throw it on the internet as a joke, what are you going to do? You know, a lot of people, they'll do jokes and they'll just say they're jokes. Like I just made Photoshop of people reading the Pineys. It's obviously a joke. Their pictures are in black and white. They're from dead celebrities who are no longer with us, and the book was published after all of their deaths. So, you know, it's just a joke. But I can see why she's upset. The White House had to respond. Believe it or not, the White House responded to this. Oh, we're going to do something about AI and these nasty pictures of Taylor Swift. The rumor is she is a psyop, or has been recruited as a psyop in order to lure young women to vote for Joe Biden. Yes, that the deep state has recruited, and this isn't like you might say, oh, that's crazy. No, they've done this before. They, initially when they did stuff like this, like for instance, during the Cold War, that was a little more tenuous time, right? So we're coming out of the big war, and now we're in this Cold War with the Soviets, and, in the 50s and 60s, that was sort of like, well, you want to help America win the Cold War, don't you? We got to beat those commies. And yeah, some people would just voluntarily do psyop work for the government, even though, it is dishonest, unethical a lot of times, or it's, just outright lying. But the idea was, well, I'm participating in this psyop, but I'm helping America, so it's okay. But, if you read anything about the history of the CIA, they haven't stopped doing that for many, many years. They were supposed to stop doing it. They're not supposed to be allowed to do it at all. It's highly illegal. For instance, the CIA is not supposed to operate within the border of the United States. It's only supposed to operate outside the border. But if you don't enforce that rule, if you don't actually threaten people and their livelihoods and their budgets, they'll just keep doing it because they're the CIA and they're the deep state, and they just keep lying to people. And if they keep doing this, well, you have the entertainment and media complex that we have today. Most of the figures are in some way beholden to the regime, as they call it, or the deep state. Now, does that mean every one of them report to the CIA every day? No, they don't need to do that. They just need to control enough people, and then some of the other people, well, do you want to work in the newsroom? Yeah. Okay, well, you got to do X, Y, and Z. And they do it because they want to work there, and they think that's part of the deal. So when an editor comes and says, change your story, you could say no, but you'll be fired, or maybe you won't get promoted, or, maybe that's going to cause you some problems. Same thing with entertainers. They need Taylor Swift, and they want Taylor Swift to act a certain way. Now, she may not be aware of the psyop. She may have just been convinced by people out around her, hey, here's all the evidence that the Orange Man is very, very bad, and you need to support Joe Biden, because you'll remember she made statements like, oh, I don't want to get political. But if you work on people enough, they'll crack. And maybe it's just like, well, you really want this record deal? I mean, we're real close to a deal here. If you just do this one thing for us, yeah, you'll be guaranteed record deals and more stadium shows and whatever. And she'll get those promises not from the CIA, but from people who she actually already works with. And someone in their organization maybe put that pressure on or whatever. Or maybe they just don't care and they just want to make a ton of money. So when you're offered a S ton of money, and you think you're doing something good for your country, maybe, or maybe you just think, well, this is an S ton of money. Are you going to say no? The way this works is people who have actual independent thought or music or, strange ideas that don't fit with the regime, or that the regime feels it hurts them, their corporate interest, they're just never going to get a chance. It's only by accident some of those people do. Because when you constantly curate the entertainment in the media, it sucks. So I'm no fan of Taylor Swift. I couldn't pick out a Taylor Swift song if you offered me $100. I mean, I would just be like, I don't know, it all sounds like Taylor Swift to me. If you just played a bunch of her music, I couldn't tell you which song from another. I couldn't name you one song. But I'm not in the age range for it. I'm sure there's plenty of women out there who go like, oh yeah, I know this song and this song and this song. But, they say she's a psyop. Is it true? Does it really matter? I mean, I wouldn't listen to her music. I have no interest. But, some people like it, and that's fine. But it does seem a little odd that she is the nexus to everything right now, right? She's propping up, to some extent, she propped up movies. She propped up the NFL, or is propping up the NFL, and propping up music. Maybe propping up Joe Biden. Who knows? What else? What else? A Despicable Me 4 trailer dropped. I did a thing on it. It's over on Bitchute, Rumble, and Odysee if you want to see it. It looks fine. I mean, Despicable Me is another example of media that looks all the same to me. I mean, it looks the same as the first movie, as the second movie, as the third movie. It's fine. Steve Carell does the voice. There are cute minions in it, and cute kids, and wacky things happen. It's a kid's movie. I can easily dismiss it because I'm too old for it, but it's okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But, if it was on TV and I was bored and somebody said, oh, let's watch Despicable Me while we play cards, I'd be like, sure, you can leave it on. And I'd half watch it and kind of half remember it. But, would I sit down and spend 2 hours of my time watching Despicable Me 4? No. No, I would not. But, I think it's probably fine for your kids or whatever. What else? What else? Joni Mitchell to perform live on the Grammys telecast. Wow, how old is she? She's got to be up there. Oh, here we go. Box office. Jason Statham's The Beekeeper and Mean Girls battle for number one in slow weekend. Well, according to the numbers, it's The Beekeeper. Over at Bounding in the Comics. Another story. Stephen Young exited Thunderbolts, if you're interested in that movie. He is being replaced by one of the guys from Top Gun Maverick, who looks much closer to the character you can see here. Because he's a blonde dude, and Stephen Yeun is Asian and has dark hair. This guy, I don't know, he doesn't have blonde hair, but he's a white guy, and you could put him in a blonde wig, he'd be a lot closer. He kind of looks like the Sentry in that picture. But, like, who the F is the Sentry? I mean, really? You're talking about digging deep in the IPs of Marvel. But okay. And then they're going to do Thunderbolts, which should not have been greenlit. I mean, talk about a movie that doesn't stand a chance, in my view. There was some more Star Wars stuff, but who cares? Daisy Ridley trying to defend the woman who... There was rumors this week, too, the Pakistani documentary filmmaker that's been hired to do a movie for a $4 billion franchise. might have been fired and people started to rejoice, but I don't think it's been confirmed. But Daisy Ridley was defending her, and it's just like, Daisy Ridley is going to get $12.5 million. Yeah, I'd defend my boss too if I was going to get $12.5 million. Sure, why not? Think about it this way: like, she's an actress, she gets her $12.5 million, does her time on screen, on set, has to do a bunch of promotion, and then she's out. Then she's out with $12.5 million. Even if she spends a couple of million, and well, she'll probably have to pay some taxes. When all is said and done, she'll probably still walk away with $5 million. She's set for life. I mean, I can understand her doing that. Is she set for life from the previous movies? I don't know. She probably should be. But $12.5 million, that's a pretty good payday. I mean, you say what you want. Maybe you could turn it down. I don't know if I could turn down that kind of cash. Even for a terrible, terrible Star Wars movie. Ugh. But maybe she doesn't think it's terrible. You know, there's plenty of ways to rationalize things. But whatever. Hollywood Reporter. Here it is again. Box office. Beekeeper and Mean Girls both claim victory amid slow weekend. Well, the numbers say Beekeeper. The numbers say Beekeeper. Oppenheimer. Camera broke during Florence Pugh. Who? And Cillian Murphy's sex scene. It was not ideal timing. Well, you're not really having sex with the dude, so I don't see what the big deal was, but sure. Guess they're just trying to talk about Oppenheimer. Dakota Johnson was on SNL because her movie's coming out. Madam Web. I know you're all excited to see that. Oh man, that's gonna be awful. That just looks like they're projecting lower numbers than Morbius. That might kill Dakota Johnson's career at this point. It certainly didn't do Jared Leto any favors when he did Morbius. That did not help him at all. He seems to be on a slow slide out. Now he's in Tron 3. Ugh. That ain't going to be good. So, Tron 4, starring Dakota Johnson and Jared Leto. There you go. Blumhouse is launching a horror exhibit at the Shining Hotel in Colorado. So if you're Shining fans, kind of cool. All right, moving on to Deadline. Ardent, Tron 3, why? Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. After that, Tron 2 was so bad. I mean, that was so bad. Even with what's his face in it, it's just unwatchable. Man, there's nothing on Deadline. More on SNL. Like, it's just so bizarre. They cover SNL like they make news for doing a comedy sketch that barely anybody saw, in my view, that certainly nobody liked. I mean, who's raving about SNL other than these trades? I've never seen anybody. Back in the 80s, yeah, we used to talk about Saturday Night Live at school. We would be in the lunchroom talking about Animal House, talking about what was on SNL that weekend on Monday. We'd be talking about, did you see Saturday Night Live? Oh, man, that was funny. These days, I never hear that conversation anymore. Ardent, it's such a dated concept now that suspension of disbelief is almost impossible. Yeah. Look at this. There's 3 articles on SNL in this stupid trade. Way to go, Deadline. Have nothing to talk about. Oh, here it is. The Beekeeper looks to sting Mean Girls during woeful weekend without wide releases. Ardent, weekend update with Dennis Miller was great. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. Um, me, I'm an originalist. I really loved Chevy Chase. When he left the show, I was so pissed because no one seemed to pick it up as well as he did. Even Bill Murray, like, it was good, but I was like, oh man, I want Chevy to do Weekend Update. But Holly, SNL has not been funny in years. Yeah, and yet they talk about it on this in this trade like they're trying to convince you it's funny. It's like, no, no, no. Look how important it is. Look at the sketch they did. It's like, it's just so not comedy anymore, in my view. Arden, all iterating a-holes annoy all? all alliterating, all iterating a-holes annoy all. What's that from? Storebang is here. Martin Short was my favorite era. That was a good era. I did enjoy. What's the name? Is it Edward Brimley? Was that his name? Or Edward Grimley? Yeah, because he brought his SNL characters to the show, and that was a great crossover. Alliterating, thank you. Alliterating a-holes annoy all? Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, that they brought SNL characters to the show was such a great crossover there. But I'm an older guy. My favorite all time on the show was Buck Henry. Every episode with Buck Henry to me is just gold. Storebang, I must say. Ardent, just clowning on the alliterating in that article. Oh, okay. Let's see. Bleeding Fool. Storebang, SCTV. Yes. Yes. R.I.P. John Candy. David Duchovny and others joined cast of Malice for Prime Video. David Duchovny coming back, getting work. Netflix shelves Halle Berry's The Mothership sci-fi film. How bad is that movie that Netflix shelved it? Jesus. That must be a horror show and a half. Why would they shelve this movie? Could it be that bad? Could this movie be worse than Batgirl? I know Netflix didn't shelve it, but I mean, Halle Berry doesn't come cheap. She wasn't Catwoman, probably a movie they should have shelved, but that's weird. That's new. That's a new headline. Netflix Avatar, The Last Airbender, trash for not being woke enough. Fantastic. I might watch it then. Sounds great. I mean, it looks fine. I saw the trailer for that. That looks good. Stuff about Supergirl. I don't care. There's rumors that they're going to expand the universe of The Office. Ardent, I was Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, Dennis Miller era. Victoria Jackson was an early crush. They were okay. I don't know. I always had I was always in the mode that they were the usurpers after a while because I had grown up on the original stuff, but they were better. I like Joe Piscopo. He was fine, and Eddie Murphy in that era. That was pretty good. So they had some good moments on that show. The only era, well, I shouldn't say the only era, but the era that really disappointed me because I expected so much was when Chris Elliott joined the show, and man, they just couldn't seem to put him in a decent sketch. I don't know why. Ardent, Chevy's Jane, You Ignorant Slut is a classic. Yes. Yes. Yeah, and you have to understand, like, Aykroyd was doing that bit at a time when no one talked that way on TV. So the first time he did it, like, it just goes by and you go, whoa, what did he just say? Like, you have to understand, like, it was a different era where, like, People didn't talk that way on TV. And he did it in that voice of like a newscaster. And Jane Curtin was so great on the show too, because she was a good foil. And she would always act very seriously and indignant whenever he did that. So, because, yeah, she was good that way. She was really good that way. That Jane Curtin didn't get more work after SNL, I'll never quite understand. She was very funny. But yeah, so Greg Daniels is exploring the idea to expand the Office universe. There was, that was Aykroyd, yeah. Yeah. You did say Chevy, right. No, that was Dan Aykroyd who said that. So Greg Daniels, expanding the Office universe, they actually did shoot the Dwight Schrute spinoff, and then they turned it into a 2-part episode on The Office, because I guess they decided it wasn't going to fly. But there were rumors that they were going to do a spinoff with Stanley, and they tried to push one, or somebody did. I think the actor who played Stanley, and then the actor who played Kevin also tried to pitch one, I think. But there are a couple of characters you could see. I mean, they would just be doing The Office with other characters, but The Office kind of lends itself to that. If you have the talent, enough talent, like you just need a guy like Carell to lead it and just embarrass his character again and again and again. I think the guy who plays Kevin might be able to do it. He's very funny. I don't think they give him enough work. All right, and Jane Curtin ended up on a show called Christy and Abby for over a decade after NSL. Might have been a Canadian exclusive. Katie and Abby. Or Christy and Abby. Yeah, I don't remember that show. I mean, I remember on Third Rock from the Sun, but that was kind of later. I guess she was Canadian then. Huh. Didn't know that. But a lot of guys got movie careers, right? And she didn't seem to launch one, really. But I thought she was... Like, Lorraine Newman didn't get one, but, you know... Lorraine Newman didn't seem as strong on the show. But Jane Curtin struck me as an actress who could probably carry a movie, or at least be one of the main characters in one. So, but like Chevy left first. He left like, was it the first season or halfway through the second season or something? He left early because he immediately got a movie deal, and then I guess it was Belushi who left next, probably. And that show was just so hot. They couldn't wait to get everybody off that show and spin them into movies. I mean, yeah, I think it was Chevy and then Belushi and then probably Aykroyd and Murray at some point. But let's see what else is going on at the wrap. Godzilla -1 passes Parasite to reach rare box office milestone. Yeah, it cracked 100 million. The question is, will they give Godzilla -1 an Oscar? They only nominated it for one, and everything I hear is this movie's awesome. But Parasite, they've fallen all over themselves to give a foreign movie something. I don't know, I didn't see it. It looks fine. But I didn't hear the buzz about Parasite that I hear about Godzilla. Everybody I know who saw Godzilla -1 raves about it. I know of maybe one person who saw Parasite and they thought, yeah, it was pretty good. So, all right. Cosmic book news. Supergirl in doubt. Actress refuses to read for James Gunn. There's more drama around James Gunn's DCU. than in the DCU at this point. And I'm just getting sick of hearing about it. I wish he'd just shut up until the first movie comes out. That's what I think he should do now. Stay off the internet. He's mostly stayed off the internet now, but every once in a while he comes roaring back to answer a bunch of questions that, who cares? People are going to speculate on the internet all day long. They're going to share stupid pictures and rumors and whatever. Who cares? Ignore them, I say. Rumors of the replacement for Kang. Hooray, I guess. If you care about Kang, that's an easy replacement. Live action female Iron Fist. I know you like that, right? So they didn't even manage to do Iron Fist right when they launched it. Now they're going to try to relaunch Iron Fist using a female character of color, of course, because, you know, the character's racist and we have to correct history because comic books are that important, people. They're just so important for us to correct every single thing. So it's just uniform and conforms with every modern attitude you've ever heard from, you know, wine box aunties who go on and on about race and how they think the world should be. That's what we need. We need more lecturing in movies. We need more characters that we've never seen before that are female, because women, and then everything will be right. Right. So how did Marvel Comics go out of business? Well, let me tell you a story. That's what we're going to be talking about. Meanwhile, people who actually make movies, David Ayer teams with Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Dixon for Levon's Trade. This is based on a series of books that Chuck Dixon wrote. So that's really cool. Good on him for getting a big deal like this. This is going to be, I think it's going to be big. I mean, it could be. It might not be, but I mean, that he got one big movie out of it. I mean, this could be, I don't know, like a Reacher kind of thing, except in movies. So that's a good positive note. And I think he's got like 8 books for this character, Levon. I'm not sure which is Levon. I think Jason Statham is Levon. And then Sylvester Stallone is probably going to be the sidekick in this one. He's getting up there. He looks good, though. I mean, for his age. I wish he'd look more his age. He really sometimes looks too weird when he's all muscled up. I'm glad he's not doing the Expendables anymore. That movie, I don't know. He looked weird right out the gate to me. But I think we're at the end of the line here. Yeah. All right. So we're going to start to wrap up here. What did we learn today? We learned we got to find a source for Indian movie box office, number one, so I could report on the box office in India, because I think that's going to be a factor in movies going forward, and probably should be. We learned that the box office sucks and only did $60 million this week, which is nothing when we had movies. We have movies that do twice that in a weekend. I mean, think about that. One movie does more than 60 million sometimes. And the entire weekend is only $60 million. Yeah, movies are dying at this rate. And yeah, it's January. But I mean, they're still making movies. Again, there must have been, oh God, there had to be like 15 trailers this week. Some I didn't even review because, I mean, some of them are incomprehensible. They're just, sometimes I get these trailers and I go, who the hell would put this trailer together? I want to like re-edit them. I really do, but there's not enough even footage in the damn thing to make it make sense anymore. So, you know, that's a pointless endeavor, and I probably couldn't show it even if I did it. So what would be the friggin' point? But my God, some of them are just terrible. But some are okay, and you watch it and you go, well, that seems like a good movie. Why aren't they in theaters? You know, do you just want this entire market to die? I mean, movies could still be pretty viable, I think. Again, it has to be an experience. Like, you have to want to go to the movie theater, and there's just too many obstacles now. It's just too expensive. It's uncomfortable. I mean, they've solved most of that with these easy chairs, but I don't think that was a huge issue. Too many commercials. I mean, there's got to be a better way. You know, and when you compare that to watching a movie at home, you know, I watch movies right on my computer screen. I have no problem with that. I can sit right here and relax. I can pause it and get a drink, go to the bathroom or whatever. You know, there's got to be something done for movie theaters to make people want to go again. Giveaways, free food, something? Booze? Booze is probably the answer. Clint Miller is here. Hello. I made it. My stepson took his daughter to see a showing of Rent. That's the excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Well, I'm just about to wrap up, but thanks for dipping in, Clint Miller. And thanks to you all. So if you have any final thoughts, just about to wrap up here. Let me check on little Joan. Oh, she's right behind me on the floor. Let's get an appearance of little Joan before we leave. There she is. All right. So what's going on this week? Not a damn thing. I'm going to be scrambling, trying to make some more money. Trying to get some more signings. I don't have a signing until Tuesday the 6th, so that's kind of a big stretch for me. February's a little light for me, so I'm going to have to step on the gas this week. Next week, so far wide open, so we'll be doing it at 7, where we do it live, right here, every week at 7. What was I thinking today? Oh, we got to do an Oscar thing. Yeah, gonna have to do the Oscar thing. When the hell are the Oscars? I don't even know. I know they're coming up soon. Might have to do that next week. I don't know. When is the Oscars? Let's see. Oscars, March 10th. Oh, wow. We got some time. So, yeah, I can't do it next week. I have to wait until March. Oh, jeez. Oh, and the 10th's the worst day to do it. Ooh, yeah. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that before. But at some point I'll do an Oscar thing. Maybe I'll do that the week before. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Do my Oscar picks on the 3rd. And then maybe on the 10th. Late. Because I'm going to be very late on the 10th. I can tell you right now. We'll do something post-Oscars. So this is the Academy's website, by the way. You can look up every Oscar ever given, all the way back to the 1920s. And that's where it starts. So check that out. 100 years of movies. Maybe this is the last one. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Thanks for tuning in. Store Bang. I'll definitely tune in if you do an Oscars live stream. I should be able to do one. Like, I won't be able to... I got so much going on that day. I mean, I'm definitely going to do one, but it might be very late because I have to do Lines in the Pines, and I have to do something else that day, which starts in the afternoon and then probably goes into the evening. So I'll definitely be starting late, but that's fine because the Academy Awards will be going on, and so maybe most of them will be done by the time I start. So that one's definitely going to be at 9, I think. So we'll figure it out. Holly says good night. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.